You and I till the end. Don't need to pretend. Again and again, we'll stick together. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. So my friends over at Joanne.com. Today we are going to continue with week number 3 with the Geometry Lessons crochet blanket. Right in the center of this blanket are 3 sections here of diamonds that are going to be done. It's a repeat pattern over and over. Beautiful diagrams that are available to you, and we're just going to keep on building onto our framework. And let's take a look at our last piece and where I left you off and where we're going to be starting off this time. When I last left you, we were doing this arrows, and now we're going to progress and we're going to be doing 3 sections here of these diamonds. And as we talked about before, the yarn is changing color on its own when it comes to the lake mist, and then it switches over and we do the Caron 1 pound here to have the offsetting come down. In this particular week we are going to be experimenting with waterfall 2, 3, 4, and 5. So as it comes along we start with number 2, we get deeper, 3, deeper 4, and deeper right to the 5th. So the 5th only is one section here as we come down, and then we come back up to the top. So we're going to be having some fun today, and without further ado I am going to be building on to the sample that we had. So I am doing a separate swatch, but last time I left you we were right here. And what we're just going to do is that we're going to keep on going, and I'm going to start you fresh on a new swatch, but just keep building onto your blanket at this time, and I'll be right back. As we continue along we have some diagram work for you. So we need to build our framework like we have been doing in the past. So we're going to be creating these spaces. We're going to go all the way down here, and so you're going to be notice we're going to be adding and subtracting stitches in order to create the shaping of the bottom of the diamond. Once we get that done we're then going to fall down into the diamond shape, and let me just bring you in a little closer here. And so we'll be doing the row, and we're going to come down with waterfall 2, 3, 4, and 5 coming down, and then back up, and then we'll carry on. So it's going to be quite nice and easy, and then we're going to switch over and then begin the shaping again to leave the framework, and then the framework is then filled in. So technically speaking the repeat on this is rows number 1 all the way through 12 which is where I'm going to take you through this, and then you can repeat that the set number of times that we'll talk about later in this tutorial. So without further ado let's begin row number 1. Let's begin row number 1. We're going to chain 3, which will count as your first double crochet. Just pretend that I'm building onto the existing blanket, so it just continues to build, and the next 4 in a row will each be a double crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is where we're going to leave the space that will be the very bottom of the W5. So in order to create that space you're just going to chain up 1 and then skip the next one, and then I need you just to be able to come into the next 7 stitches after this. So skip this one and do the next 7. So we're going to do that. So we're going to say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And once those 7 are in you're ready for another space for the bottom part of the W5 later. So chain up 1, skip 1, and then do the next 7. And I need you to continue to repeat this over, and I will see you near the end of this and we'll talk about how to finish the other side. I'll be right back. As you come closer to the other side in the other edge you're chaining 1. So after you did the last 7 you'll chain 1, skip 1, and then you'll do the last 5 double crochets that will sit by themselves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we'll know the orientation now because we've now established the very bottom of each of the diamond shapes. You can see it by the gapping spaces. So let's turn our work and do row number 2. So in row number 2 we need to get a little bit wider, so we're going to be eliminating out these double crochets that you have here, and so we'll be creating more of a space. So you're learning in this particular one that the waterfalls can start extending and changing shapes, and that's what we're doing. So let's begin to do this one. We're going to chain 3, which will count as your first double crochet, and you're going to do the next 3. And you should realize that because you are going to get bigger, so this stitch has to be eliminated out in order to do that. And I'll explain a little bit more in a second. So just do the first 3. So in order to get bigger we need to skip over this stitch, and this stitch. So that means that we're going to chain 3 this time. So 1, 2, 3. So you're going to skip this stitch, the space, and this one, and start double crocheting right here, right where I'm pointing with my thumb. So you're just going to start double crocheting over, and the technical number is 5 if you want to know that, but what I would strongly recommend is just identify where this is and just make sure you skip over the one before and after to create a bigger space. Right? Look for those signs that make it a lot easier so you don't have to count so much. So we're ready now. So you'll chain 3. So you'll skip over the double, the space, and the next double and start right here. And I need you to do this all the way across. This is row number 2, and I'll be back to you in a moment with the other side. So I'm continuing to repeat the pattern over to the other side, and so I've just jumped over the 3 that were there, and then I'm just gonna finish this side. So there's technically 4 double crochets before the edge after the last space. Right, so there's the space and then there's 4. Turn your work and let's begin row number 3. In row number 3 we're gonna get bigger again, so we're going to ignore this double crochet in this one. So now there will be a jump of 5. So let's just start. So we'll chain 3. There's your first double, and look for how many double crochets you need to do in order to create that momentum, right? So you just have to do 2, and then you want to skip this one, the chain 3 space, and the one after it. So that means that you have to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So skip this double crochet, the chain 3, and this one, and start right here where I'm pointing with my thumb that's moving. And then you're just gonna double crochet over. There's a total count of 3 if you want to know that, but what I'm recommending to you, just look for the signs of where you think you need to jump. Right? I'm just gonna redo that last one. So you can see I want to skip this one, the chain 3, and this one. So I'm gonna chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then jump on over and then continue. So do this all the way to the other side. I'll be back in a moment. Coming all the way to the other side, I'm just jumping over the 5, so the double, the 3, and the double, and then I'm just gonna do the last 3 double crochets that are available to me. I'm just looking for what needs to be filled in, and this will conclude then on row number 3. Turn your work, and you can see the spaces are getting bigger. Let's begin number 4. 4 is the last time you're creating these grid spaces, so you'll have a total of 1, 2, 3, and then this will be the 4th, and then your waterfall will happen on the next row after this. You're gonna chain 3. There's your first double, and you're looking for it, making it bigger, so we only have 1 double crochet in before we jump. So this time there's gonna be a total of 7 stitches. So you got the double, the 5, and the double that you want to jump over, so you need to chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then come into the middle one of the grouping of 3, and that's the only one that you're gonna go into, and then you're gonna jump again. So it's a nice jumping section here. So chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then come to the middle one, and you'll do that all the way across, and I'm almost there in a moment, so I'll just stay with you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm jumping, and so I'm gonna jump after this one here, and so there will be 2 double crochets left. So that one plus the next one, and we're going to eliminate this color and get ready for your secondary color. And so I'll show you how to fasten off this, just to make sure that we cover it in today's tutorial. Fasten off your yarn, what I recommend to you is that you just cut it and bring it through, and all I'm just going to do is throw it through a tapestry needle. And so I recommend this every time you do it, and then you're just gonna come in and just drag it through the stitch work itself. And the trick would be to drag it through a total of 3 times. When you pull on it, don't pull on it so tight that it changes the shape of your project. Just be taut, they say, and then back through, and finally back through one more time. Okay, so that's done, and we're gonna trim it, and then we're gonna move on, and then we're gonna go back to the diagram in just a moment. So just pay attention to where you are. We just finished here, so turn your work and we'll get ready for row number 5. In row number 5 we're gonna come along and we are going to slam in some single crochets on the top of these doubles that you see. And then we've already done waterfall number 3 in week number 1, and we've also done waterfall number 5. The only difference is that the number of spaces changes as we do it. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly go through that, and I'll just demonstrate it one time each, and then we'll come down for waterfall 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then back up like that. And then single crochets on the top of the doubles, and etc. And we'll do that all the way across. Let's try row number 5. I'm recommending that you have your longer hook available to you, especially for the longer ones beyond waterfall number 2 or 3. Let's begin this one, and I usually start with a standing single crochet. It's what I prefer, and you can always learn something. So if you don't want to do that, you can attach it with this and then chain 1 and then do a single crochet. You can decide what works for better for you. This one here is a standing, so there's a slip knot already on the hook. We pull through, and then there's 2 loops. Pull through those 2, and that's a standing single crochet. So let's begin to work our way across. So we're gonna single crochet into the next double crochet that's here. So just single crochet in, and what I'm recommending to you is get rid of any loose ends that you may want to have, or just throw it to the back end and deal with it later. Just make sure it's out of your way. I'm gonna back you out a little bit here because you're a little too close. I can feel you breathing on my neck. I'm kidding, you're too close. So I want to come down, and I want to just start falling down these spaces. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then this 4th one. So the first one is a waterfall number 2. We've not covered that in the tutorial work yet. So how we do that is that we are going to put the hook in to the space, and we're still gonna wrap twice. Okay, so we wrap twice. Make sure you can see it on the hook, and instead of bringing it back to the front side of the work, the attachment is right directly below. So just keep turning the project over and get the first stitch that is on top of the first double crochet that's available to you, and just stick it into the stitch. You're going to yarn over, pull through that stitch, and it's like you did before. So you yarn over, pull through 2, you yarn over, pull through 2 and the space, and then you're back on the top side again, turn it back over, and you're going to yarn over, pull through 2. So now we're gonna do waterfall number 3, which we've already showed you before as well. So you're just gonna go into the space and wrap the hook twice. This time, because the space is an extra one down, we're going to bring this forward and point the hook down and just push. And push enough that you can get to that next space. And then put it out to the back. Wrap it twice. And because this is the ending part of this, we're just going to continue to turn the project over and get the next available stitch that was there, and that's the top of the next double crochet that was there. Keep things organized on your hook, it's easier. So yarn over, pull through the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops and the space, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 and the space, and turn this back to the other side, and yarn over, pull through 2. Remember, this is just floating here, so it will work itself out. That was waterfall number 3. Now we're gonna do waterfall number 4, which we have not done, but it's just one less than a waterfall 5 that we have done. So let's go into the space and wrap twice. Bring this forward, use your fingernail, push down, and go to the next space. Wrap twice, and then bring forward, and then come down to this space, which is the last space that we're going to go into. So going in, wrap twice, and then go into the top of the stitch. yarn over, pull through the stitch, yarn over, pull through the 2, yarn over, pull through the 2 and the space, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over through 2 and the space, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 and the space. That takes you to the top, and then yarn over, pull through the final 2. So the next one now is a waterfall number 5, which you have done. So let's go into the space, wrap twice. I'm just going to speed up because you've done that several times. And you keep going down and down and come into the space here, and then turn the project over so that you can get to that stitch work. Keep everything organized on your hook, it's easier. Pull through the 2, or sorry, pull for the stitch, pull through the 2, pull through the stitch and the space. Sorry, that was pull through the 2 loops and the space. So pull through 2, pull through 2 and the space, pull through 2, pull through 2 in the space, pull through 2, pull through 2 in the space, turn it over because you're at the top, yarn over, pull through like that. So now you've just gone down waterfall 2, 3, 4 and 5, and now you're just going to come back up. So let me just finish this together with you. So we're just going to now just start working your way back up, and it's already what you know. So you're just filling in those spaces to make it look good. And so what I want you to do is that I want you to finish the remaining of this row going across. And if you drop a stitch like I just did, sometimes it's better to completely frog that back out and retry. And I want to leave this in the tutorial just in case. But you just have to keep on retrying. Sometimes you can't salvage yourself when you jump out of a stitch like that. And so you just got to keep trying. Have patience with yourself. Because you're watching me on camera, I kind of feel like I'm rushed a little bit, so I don't want to waste too much of your time. It's kind of my own guilt. So I'm coming all the way back to the top, and I finish, and you can see I'm coming back up. So please complete this all the way across. This is row number 5, and I will be back at the end of the row in a moment. So I'm coming all the way across. And remember that you're doing multiple stitches at the same time. So if it feels like it's a long process, it kind of is, because you are doing multiples in the vertical. So you're just coming all the way across, and you'll single crochet the final 2. And I'm going to switch my hook back to my ergonomic because it's easier for me. And then we're going to start row number 6 in just a moment. And let's turn our work and get ready for that. In row number 6, we're just going to chain up 1 and apply 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across. We've done this several times now in this particular video series. So just single crochet across, and that'll take you across row number 6. I'll be right back at the end of the row. Coming up to the end of row number 6, right to the very end, we're going to turn our work. We need to go back to the diagram and show you some things, and everything, if you're not happy with the spacing, just everything is floating, so just move it on the spacing itself in order to get that to go. So let's go row number 7. Let's go back to the diagram and show you what's going on, because the ends are kind of different. Let's begin. So rows number 7 all the way through 10 have a unique start. We're going to chain 2, which will not count as a stitch, and then you will double crochet into the first one. You will then skip 1, so chain 1, skip 1, and then do your 7 in a row, and then chain 1, skip 1, and etc. So what we're doing is we're moving this from where it was before, so we just have to watch these endings on how we're going to get that. So on the ending, it's just 1 double crochet right into the last stitch. Let's try row number 7. Let's begin row number 7, and you're going to chain 2. It will not count as anything, and in the same stitch that's coming out of, place in a double crochet. Now you're going to chain 1, skip the next one, and you were just going to do the next 7 in a row. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And once that's done, you are going to chain 1, skip 1, and then you were going to come into this one right here. And do you notice how everything's kind of lining up? this is the single that was on top of this double. That's exactly the same one that you're skipping, so then the diamonds will line up. So that helps you to know that. So after you chain one, skip one, you'll just go into the double crochet and do the next 7 in a row. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then we're gonna jump again. So chain one, jump over, and then start the next 7. So I want you to do this all the way across. I'm almost there, so I'll keep the camera going. So I'm just doing the next 7. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and I got 2 stitches left. So I'm just gonna chain one, skip one, and then come into my very last one for a double crochet, and that was number 7. So you have spaces that are now on the edge. Let's turn our work and begin number 8. Let's begin to do row number 8. So we're going to create more and more spaces to be wider now. So as we do number 8, you want to chain 2, it will not count as anything, and in the same one you want to place in a double crochet. So on the edges we are doing the diamonds, but it's only half of a diamond, so it will be growing out towards the middle of the project. So this time you're going to chain 2, and you're gonna skip the space and the next double crochet, and then you'll start in this double crochet, and you're only gonna do 5 in a row once you get there. So you're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And you're looking for the space because you want to get it to go bigger, so you're just looking for that space, and you know that you have to jump over that. So you're gonna jump over the double, the space, and the double, so you need to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then start right here where I'm moving my thumb, and you'll do the next 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then chain 3, and then you skip over the next double, the space and the double, and etc. And you'll do this all the way across. I'm gonna keep the camera going because I'm almost there. So I'm just gonna do this 5, but I'm really looking for the spaces to really tell me what to do, to be honest with you. So when we get there, we're going to chain 2 and not 3, because we're hitting a space, or we're hitting the edge. So you're gonna jump over this double and this space, and then you're going to double into the very last one there, and that was row number 8. Let's turn our work and begin number 9. Let's begin number 9. Chain up 2, doesn't count as anything, and just put in a double crochet right at the very beginning, and we're gonna make this space even bigger than it was. So this time it's gonna chain 3, so you're skipping over this chain 2 and the first double crochet, so you'll start right where my thumb is moving, and then you'll double crochet just 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and you can see the space work that's there. So now you have to jump over 5. Okay, it's just the edge that is 3, but everything else now is 5 in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skipping over the double, the chain 3 and the double, and start right here where my thumb is moving. And you're just gonna do 3 in a row. So as you can see that the framework's getting bigger, this gets faster to be able to create, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then skip over the double, the chain 3 and the double, and do this side. So there's 1, 2 and 3. So do that all the way across, but eventually you're gonna run into the other edge. And when you get to the other edge, you're only gonna chain 3 now instead of 5. So 1, 2, 3. So you're skipping over the double and the chain 2 space, and just double crochet into the very last one. And that was row number 9. Let's turn our work and begin row number 10. So in row number 10 we're going to start up, and we're going to chain 2, doesn't count as anything, and then you're gonna double crochet into the same stitch. Now because it's an edge, it's special, so they're only gonna chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're skipping over the chain 3 space and the next double crochet. That's why it's 4. So you're just gonna double crochet in the middle one of the grouping of 3. Then it's gonna be like it was before when we were down below. You're gonna chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come to the next grouping of 3 and just go into the middle one. And you're gonna do that all the way across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you keep on moving across. And then eventually you'll hit the other edge, which I'm about to. So on the edge piece it's only chaining of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come into the last double crochet. Now we want to get rid of this color and we're gonna change it back to the main color, and I'm gonna have you do that on your own, and I already showed you how to do it, so let's do it, and I will be back in a moment to take you on to number 11 and 12, 13 and etc. Let's begin that next. Okay, so we want to begin our next piece, and I have not turned it over yet, so I finished here, fastened off, and now I want to start row number 11. So row number 11 is going to be falling down with the with this particular stitch work, and so we're going to start off in the first double crochet here, and you can do a standing single if you prefer, or just attach, chain 1 and single crochet. You can decide what you prefer. So let's go down and do the first waterfall. It's a number 5. We've done it several times before, and you're gonna come all the way to the base of the very start one, and then that's where your journey is gonna begin. So this whole row is about filling in those spaces and then putting in a single crochet at the top of those double crochets that are still left. So any type of spacing will have a waterfall associated to it, and the depth of it is determined by how many spaces are below it. So that was a waterfall number 5. So then I'll have 4, 3, 2, and then single crochet, and then 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we've already demonstrated this before, and what I want you to do is just continue along. If things are not floating right, just kind of move it with your fingers, and I will have you do this row. This is row number 11, and I'll be back in just a moment. So just follow the depth that's provided to you. So now I'm at the end of number 11. So now I can just change out my hook back to the ergonomic that I prefer, because now I can just create framework again. But before we start the repeat, we have to go one more row, and it's just chain 1, and we are going to then just put in 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across, and this is row number 12. So I need you to do that, and then we're going to meet you back up in just a moment and talk about the repeat in just a few seconds. So I'm coming up to the end of number 12, and then I'm gonna turn my work and let's talk repeat, and let's go back to the instructions and see what we're gonna get. So we have 1 diamond out of 3 done in the vertical. Let's look at the instructions next. So now what I need you to do is that you need to repeat the first to the 12th row twice more. So you gotta go 1 through 12 again, and then you can reverse back the video in order to get that information if you need that help again, and then you need to do it one more time. So repeat the first to the 12th rows twice. I'm going to pick you up on row number 37 next, so I'm gonna assume that you have that done. I'm just gonna build onto my panel that I already have. I'm going to just let you get that done, and if you let's begin row number 37 next. So I'm going to assume that you will have done your repeats by now. Let's begin row number 37, and you're on the right side of the work. This is where you finished. You finished on the wrong side, so when you turned you're on the right side of it, and you can tell by the waterfall stitch where you are as well. And you need to chain up 3 and apply 1 double crochet starting in the next one all the way across, and you will do this then for row number 37, and then I'll be right back in a moment to take you through the next part. Coming up across on number 37, just applying 1 double crochet in each as I mentioned, and you're gonna get all the way to the end, do the last one and turn your work, and we'll begin number 38. To do row number 38, just chain up 1 and apply 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across. You've done this before, and that's nice and easy, and do this all the way across. I'll see you back here in a moment. Coming all the way across here on row number 38, remember that chain 3, that's a stitch. Make sure you go right into the top of that chain, never to a space, so it doesn't open up. And that was row number 38. Let's begin number 39 and 40 next. Number 39, chain up 3 and apply 1 double crochet back into the stitch work again all the way across, and that will take you there, and I'll be back in a moment. So double crochet in each stitch across. Coming to the end of number 39, I've just been double crocheting across. Do your last one, turn your work, and let's do the final row for this section. The final row is just chain up one and apply one single crochet in each stitch all the way, and I will meet you at the end of this row, and this will conclude off today's tutorial, and I'll be right back in a moment. I'm coming to the end of number 40, and I come right to the top of that chain, and this is it. So when I lay it back down, it's gonna be on the right side of the project facing up. You can move things and etc., anything that you would like to do, and this is going to conclude. So you will have 3 sets of diamonds. This will be your finishing, and then next week on week number 4 we are going to kick you off and doing some arrow work again, and we're also going to do those checks again, and then we're also going to do the border. So we got lots to do next week, and overall I'm satisfied with this. This is amazing, and I'll see you again. Please share your creativity and your work in progress on Facebook using our hashtags Handmade with Joanne as well as the Crochet Crowd. We'll see you again next time. Bye bye.